Hello, I'm Julie and I like to knit, sew and crochet, mainly using yarn and fabric from my stash. I'm coming to you from just north of Glasgow and it's sleeting and cold outside, so just right for a day in my sewing room. I think this is going to be a short episode as I've not got any completed items. I have 3 works in progress and well, it's been holiday season. We've had lovely visitors, really nice time, and not much sewing, knitting or crochet went on, which is fine. But I thought I'd do a little update today just to keep the momentum going of my target setting of using up my stash. I have, to be fair, had a good go at tidying my sewing room. It's so much better than it was. I've moved the furniture around. I will do a tour at some point. It's not a massive sewing room. It's not fancy or anything, but it's much more usable now because I've had a little shunt of the furniture. But that's something for the future. So first of all, what am I wearing? So it took me ages to find the pattern for this morning. It was actually on my phone. I hadn't printed it off. It's a tank top using super chunky yarn with, I'm not sure of the content of the wool. I do have a ball band somewhere. And I made this in November 2022 using some yarn that I know I bought in 2007, and I know exactly why, because I was sitting knitting at home and my sister-in-law was in London for work at the time of a bomb that had happened in London. I think it was 2007. So that's this top I made. It's called the Magnum Vest. And what happened in 2007, I'd bought the yarn to make a chunky sweater, but I was fairly new to knitting and I gave up on the chunky sweater. So consequently, I've made various cowls and hats, etc. Now, I bought this chunky yarn. We were living in Herefordshire. I bought it in Leicester. And with the intention or with the idea that chunky yarn is good for a beginner knitter, which I was at the time. But really thinking about it, I think chunky needles and chunky yarn is quite tricky to work with. So personally, I don't think I would recommend chunky yarn for a beginner knitter because it is quite cumbersome. This pattern also is a do the back and the front separate and then sew up the pieces. I'm not a good sewer upper, and since I made this, I've discovered knitting in the round, which I would much prefer. But I have worn it quite a lot. It's cozy. It's cold out today. Do have the central heating on, but I've got a short sleeve or 3/4 sleeve top on, which is just a charity buy. So it is a nice pattern, but I would much prefer knitting in the round. So that's what I'm wearing today. I have updated my Ravelry page, but to restate, it's a Magnum Vest, Cascade Yarns, Joan Somerville. But the details are on my Ravelry page, which I think is stitched from stash. Right, so what have I been working on? Last week, I said one of the things I wanted to do this week was to sort out a blue and yellow quilt top. And I did have a good go at this yesterday. So I finished the top, which I know some people call a flimsy. And I'm really pleased with how it's come out. So it's for our granddaughter's toddler bed, you know, a bed with a cot bed really. So it's not massive, but it's, her room is, in our house anyways, for our house, is yellow wallpaper with blue features, curtains and a rug. So I will show that when it's completed on her little cot bed. I'd already cut out some of the strips. I think they're 4-inch strips. So I'd already cut out some of them. So yesterday I cracked on with cutting out the rest of the strips. I've used 3 colours of the lemon yellow and 4 colours of the blue. I had some information from this book, which I think I bought in a charity shop many years ago. And it's a seed sack quilt pattern, which is beautiful in the book. But obviously I've used my own choice of colours. So in terms of, I'm not going to do a border. I'm going to do, I am going to do binding, obviously. And I may use some of the other fat quarters I had. I think I bought these in, no, I did buy them. Why am I saying thinking? I bought them in Aldi, again, quite a few years ago. So I think I'll use some of those as the border. And in terms of wadding, I am going to use some from my stash. I'm just going to try and set the exposure on this. That's it. So rather than it going in and out. So I have a big bag here of wadding. This is cotton offcuts from other quilts I've made, and I'm going to piece them together. I can't remember the stitch it's called, but you butt up 2 pieces so they're quite flat, and that's what I'm going to use for the inner, the quilt sandwich. Some cotton wadding. And in terms of the back, I haven't got the fabric out, but I have, again, some blue or lemon fabric from my stash, which I'm going to use. I'm going to hand quilt, just for change, and it's not massive, so I think I'll probably hand quilt it. Never say never, but that's probably what I'm going to do. So that's my first work in progress. Pleased with that. Mainly did that yesterday, and the blue fabrics came from my stash, as did the lemon fabrics. So the other thing I've been working on, again, not much progress, is a pair of socks, vanilla socks, using this All Stars yarn, which is superwash. I haven't made socks for a while. I think I did make our granddaughter a pair. She's only little, she's only 3. Well, coming up 3 in a couple of weeks. So I did make her a pair, but I've not made a larger pair of socks for a while. So I just wanted a straightforward plain sock. And I have got as far as increases for the gusset. And I did look, I'm not an expert knitter by any stretch of the imagination. I did look this morning on a YouTube tutorial how to do M1 right, M1 left, and hopefully that will make quite a neat increase for the gusset. So not great progress, but I've done a little bit. So back to routine now, isn't it, after the Christmas holidays, and hopefully I'll get on with that. The other thing I've been working on is a crochet blanket using granny stitches, and again, not much progress. I cast on, this is quite a fluffy yarn, which came from my late mother's stash, and it's just acrylic yarn. But again, I've got quite a lot of yarn I want to use up before I head out and buy some more. Having said that, never say never. If I get it into my head I want new yarn, I will obviously buy new yarn. But I want to try and clear as much of this stash yarn as I have. So this is going to be a striped blanket, and I did cast on with a non-fluffy yarn for the foundation row, and then I've gone on to the foundation, and I think I'm going to do it a block of, started off with green, block of blue, then I have some pink, and I have written down the order I'm doing them. So that's just straightforward, easy granny square stitching. So hopefully that's going to be worked on this week. So in terms of, that's my 3 works in progress. I just wanted to put a little video out there to keep my momentum going. The aim of this is to give me some targets to work for, and it's really worked so far. You know, Christmas, New Year has disrupted things a little, but I'm back on the case now. So then they're essentially my plans for this week, is to work on those. Hopefully I get this finished by next week, and I have lots of other things in mind, but I'm trying to keep it steady and not get too many things on the go. So I am completing things. I think that's it for today. Just a short hello update on my works in progress. So I'm going to say goodbye, wishing you all a happy new year. If you want to follow what I make, great, please subscribe, and I will see you hopefully next week. Happy New Year to everybody. Best wishes for 2025. Bye.